Okay, welcome to the walkthrough for your theme park assignment part A. It still says under development because I'm still working out a few things, so I apologise for that. But the assignment itself is fine. I'm just trying to work out what other resources to put there. So in order to work out what to do, we need to go to theme park 1. Oops, one click. And then we need to click on the document. Now the document is really well structured. Thank you to the lovely SOS teachers of Canberra High School. And you can see here that it steps you through a range of things that you need to do. So there are 7 steps that you have to do for the part A. So the first thing you have to do is your name for your theme park, your logo, and of course it could be a theme park or a water park. We use theme park generally, but you know, some of you are doing water parks, but just be conscious of that. Longitude and latitude, you should be able to do that in a couple of lessons time, and you can look that up. You might be able to do that already, in which case that's fine. I don't mind if this is done as DMS or whether it's done as decimal. You may not want to know what I mean by that yet, but you will when you watch my video on longitude and latitude. Okay, then you need to work out your rides and attractions. However, this could be a little bit tricky to work out before we've done some of the other work that we need to do. So just hold off on that for a moment, put some ideas down, but don't get too attached to them as yet. Because we need to work out environmental ideas. So, you know, for example, rides take a lot of electricity, and if you're a water park, you're going to need a lot of water. So what are we going to do to manage those resources? We'll be talking about that in class. The other thing is what type of ride you need relies on demographics, and that comes a little bit later on. But, you know, and then we've got to make a map, and I've got some videos to support you on making a map. So you can see here, here's the entrance. Obviously there's the fence line and there's the rides and things like that. So something similar to that is just fine. Using, you know, particular images to represent, you know, food or resting or toilets and things like that, because you've got to have your toilets in there. They don't, which is really important. Or maybe that's it, toilets. Anyway, toilets are important. So you've got to use your bolts for that. Now you can do it in a paper copy, or you can actually do it online. I am giving instructions for how to do it in slides, but you might have a software program that's going to be awesome and you can do that as well. I don't mind, okay? However you get this done is fine. Then we're going to make a climograph. That will tell you how much rain and what temperature you get. Now that's important for your rides as well, because if you're in a particularly colder place, then some of your rides you might want to have heated in some way, which is going to change your environmental impact. So we need to think about that sort of thing. And then we need to think about basically the demographics. So are there young people, old people in your town that are going to be more interested in it and things like that. Of course, remember, tourism's a really big thing. So just because your town has particular demographics doesn't mean that you're not going to attract people from outside. So you need to have a think about what that means and how that might impact your park. So this is all things that we're going to be doing in class to support you to make sure that all this happens. But this is why I'm saying you need to be careful about getting too attached to your rides before we've done some of this demographic work. And again, we will be doing a lot of this in class, so don't worry too much. This is the important thing you have to read. This is the rubric. Now, if you decide that you want a satisfactory grade, that's cool. So you need to go through the satisfactory column and work out all the things that you have to do in order to meet that standard. If you want to be excellent, then you've got to do that, all right? And limited will show you where you've gone a little bit astray. So it's worth reading that as well to make sure you don't do those things. Okay, so please make sure you read the rubric in some detail. And I know this is a big project, but don't be overwhelmed because you've got all this data that we support you with. So you can see there are links here, but if we go back to the main page, there's also a source booklet. So we've actually found some data for you, so you don't have to go and do too much research. So feel free to have a look at that. And of course, remember, that's the first video I've made on how to work in slides. But remember, if you've forgotten what your park is, this is a document here where you were allocated randomly in class. So make sure you are doing the correct park. So make sure you're doing it in the location that you've been allocated. The reason why this is important is for part 2. So this is part A at the moment. So I'm not talking about part 2 yet, but it's really important you do the correct park for part 2. Okay, I hope this has been helpful.